All right, 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much to everybody who subscribed and been watching the videos. Really grateful for that. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is the Just the Watch channel. My name's Dave, and kind of the goal of this channel is really to sort of chronicle my journey to build a good, well-rounded collection without spending a lot of money. This is a channel about budget watch collecting, and it was started just about a year ago, and it was shortly after I started kind of getting interested in watch collecting a little bit. And so in 1 year we've grown from 0 to a little bit over 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully we'll keep going with that. I wanted, every once in a while I like to do these kind of state of the collections, and again the whole idea is to try and chronicle my journey to build a good collection. So it's helpful to show how the collection's looking from time to time, and as you'll see when you watch this one, if you've seen the previous ones that we did at 100 and 500 subscribers, the collection's changed a lot. Some of the pieces are still there. We've got some new ones. Again, almost exclusively staying in the budget category. So most of the watches that I look at are $200 or less, but recently I've been interested in getting some slightly more expensive pieces in there. So you'll see that reflected as well. Stick around to the end. I'll kind of give sort of my review of my own collection, what I think of it and what I think is missing and what I'm looking to add next. And especially maybe looking at this next year and the kind of stuff I'll be looking at. But let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the collection, and yeah, we'll show you guys what I got. Before we jump into this, one quick thing I forgot to mention: I am doing a giveaway that is still active. This is not for the 1,000 subscribers, but I just did a review of some straps from Ritchie. And if you want a chance to win a couple of those, go check out that review. There's instructions on how to enter the giveaway in the description of it. Yeah, and good luck. Okay, so the first one that we're going to take a look at is the newest watch that I purchased, and that is the Bulova Lunar Pilot, also known as the Moon Watch. I'm going to be getting around to doing a review of this one hopefully pretty soon, so I won't spoil too much, but many of you guys are already pretty familiar with this one. For me, this one replaces the Bulova Marine Star, so the Marine Star actually had to sell to help buy this one, and it was a tough decision. I really liked that Marine Star. I liked how dressy it was and how I could use it as kind of like I could get away with using it as sort of like a dress watch, but then also have timing functionality and having that internal timing bezel, and it just looked great on so many different straps. So that was a tough call to make, but I think this Bulova Lunar Pilot for me is probably the best chronograph that I can get in my budget. Let's take a little closer look at it. Now for me, I've always been interested in aviation and space exploration. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, and so even when I first started collecting watches, the idea of having the Moon Watch, the Speedmaster, was really appealing to me, but obviously way outside of my price range. This is probably the closest I'm going to get to it, and you know what, I'm really happy with it. I really like the stylings on this one, and I can't wait to get around to doing a full review of it, so I'll save a lot of my comments for that. But it's a really interesting watch. Really clean, really easy to read, just incredibly legible, very functional as a chronograph. And again, I think for me in my price range, probably this is the best chronograph I'm going to be able to get my hands on. And so I'm really happy to have this one. Next watch, I picked this one up at almost the same time as I picked up the Bulova. And this one I got used on eBay. This is the Orient Polaris. And the Orient Polaris is one that I've kind of had my eyes on for a while. I've always wanted to have an automatic watch with a GMT function. Again, GMT is like my favorite complication. It's one of the most useful ones to me because I live in Japan and I have friends and family in America, and I'm always, having to do this little mental math in my head trying to calculate what time it is in either country. So I love having a GMT that I can see that instantly. And the Orient Polaris is, it's such a beautiful watch. Let's go ahead and take a little bit closer look at it. And hopefully you can see some of the details on there. The dial is just really well done. Everything about it is just really beautiful. I have it on this Hadley Roma strap, so I picked it up on eBay. I got a great deal. I got it for about $150, but the strap was not in great shape, so I got a new strap for it. And I really like, I wasn't a fan of the stock strap anyways. I don't like the kind of fake alligator grain look, so I much prefer this kind of more vintage brown Hadley Roma strap. Again, this will be another one that I'll be getting around to reviewing. So I was really happy to be able to pick this one up and really like wearing it. Typically as a dress watch, but as kind of an everyday watch as well. Sapphire crystal, it's pretty durable, 50-meter water resistance, so great watch. All right, next up we have this Guanqiu, which I have done a quick kind of review on. I've also compared it favorably to the Orient Bambino, and yeah, so about that, one of the things you'll notice is that I no longer have the Orient Bambino. Another tough sale, but that was one that I sold to help fund the Orient Polaris, so I still have an Orient in my collection. Rather than the Bambino, I have the Polaris now. But again, I felt like this Guanqiu just in so many ways kind of fit the bill for a dress watch, and in some ways it's maybe even more versatile than the Bambino, given that it's kind of a more classic color with the silver dial rather than the blue one. And with the Bambino, as much as I loved it and as beautiful as it was, I was always nervous wearing it with that high domed mineral crystal, and I just knew I would eventually scratch it. So that was one of the reasons that I let go of it. But other than that, yeah, it's just a really, really beautiful, well-made watch. And again, I replaced it with a different Orient, so I have a lot of respect for Orient, and getting my hands on another one of their pieces, being able to kind of see something in there a little bit higher end line made me appreciate it even more. But this Guanqiu, I really like the design of it. I like the faceted bezel. I think it has a lot of character for a watch in this price range. Sapphire crystal. I have it on this black beer fine strap that I got on Amazon. So I like having a dress watch with a brown strap and a black strap, so that I can kind of try and match whatever I'm wearing. I think that it's better if you can match your watch band to your shoes and belt. So I've got this one kind of strapped up for dressier occasions. So it'd be kind of like my go-to dress watch for more formal situations, and I think it really works nicely in that. Great watch for $50. I still got to get around to eventually picking up the Cadison that's kind of similar to this one and kind of see if I like that one better. But so far I've been nothing but pleased with this one, and I'm hoping to keep it around for a while. All right, next we have the Momentum Morioka. So that one, again, kind of real sentimental watch, given that it was named after the city that I lived in Japan for the last 5 years. And I've currently moved to a different city, but Morioka is still one that I go to quite frequently. We were just out there yesterday, actually drove through. And it's a couple hours from where we are now, but it's the major city in this region. And so it's just so cool having a watch kind of named after a city that is really kind of become a second home to me. And we have a lot of good friends there. In fact, we're down here in Miyako planting a new church, and the church that's sponsoring us is our church that we were working with that's still in Morioka, so we have a good connection with them there. So it's nice to have that kind of reminder of the city on my wrist, whether I'm traveling back to America or here in the different city in Japan. On top of that, I do think it is a great watch. You've got a sapphire crystal, 200-meter water resistance, Seiko movement, pretty decent lume, screw-down crown, so great specifications. And again, it's just a really beautiful, dressy-looking piece, but still really tough at the same time. A little bit on the large side, kind of tall, kind of big. This one's about a 45-millimeter diameter, so pretty big watch, but it wears well, I think. I have it on this strap I got from Cheapest NATO Straps, and I bought some straps from them. Looking, eventually want to get around to reviewing them. I'll just say this really quickly. I was really impressed with the leather that they use on this. It's great leather. Not as impressed with the hardware on the buckle. The buckle feels a little bit flimsy, but just quick mention of that. But this is the Momentum Morioka. Yeah, in Momentum's a brand that I don't see getting a lot of coverage. I really like them. They have a lot of interesting watches, I think, and they kind of fit kind of a cool functional niche. All right, next we've got the Citizen Nighthawk. This is probably the oldest watch that's still in my collection. One of the ones that kind of got me into watch collecting. This was one of the first watches that I really did a lot of research and tried to find like a watch that would really be a good everyday watch for me. And this is the one that I picked, and I still have it. I don't have any plans of getting rid of it. You know, I love that it has the 24-hour GMT hand. I love how functional and luminous it is. I just love the design and the look of it. Just such a clean, easy to read dial despite all that's going on to it. It's so busy. And again, I really like pilot's watches, the whole aviation theme. Again, that was kind of always a dream of mine. I did get to fly a plane once, so that was really cool. But it was only for a couple minutes. But yeah, I was out in a small plane. I was actually on a missions trip in Indonesia working with Mission Aviation Fellowship, and I was setting up email servers for them. So IT was my background then. So I did that for 6 weeks when I was in college. And if you don't know anything about Mission Aviation Fellowship, they do a lot of work in really remote areas of the world. And in Papua, there's a lot of tribes that are separated and there's no roads to get to them, so flying is the only way. So they actually play a big part in the country there. They deliver the mail, they help connect a lot of the tribes, they carry tribes members into town. Anyways, getting a little bit distracted there. But yeah, always had a really interest in aviation. Life didn't quite go that direction, but even still, when I'm looking at watches and things, that interest kind of plays through. And so having kind of this aviation-inspired watch is something that I really enjoy. All right, next up we have a Timex Weekender. And the Timex Weekender, this is kind of a newer one to my collection. Just picked this one up last summer. And I'd heard so much about the Weekender and everybody saying how great it is. I always saw pictures of it, and it just it looked like kind of just a plain, standard, kind of ordinary watch. But I saw it came on sale on Amazon once. They had the 40 millimeter version, which I felt like the 38 was maybe a little bit small for my 7.5-inch wrist. Thought the 40 would wear better. So I grabbed it and just really kind of started falling in love with it. And my wife actually really liked it too. She's one of her favorite watches in my collection. Just a really clean, simple watch, and it goes so well with so many different straps. I have it here on this Ritchie kind of seatbelt style NATO strap that I just recently reviewed. And I think it looks great on this strap. I was really surprised at how well it matched. I also had it on the Bulova, so I was kind of torn between putting the strap on the Moonwatch or on the Timex, but when I tried it on, this just really felt like it fit the watch well. It's really comfortable. I actually wear this one at night a lot because of the Indiglow, despite the fact that it does have kind of a loud ticking. So far that has not kept me awake. But yeah, I'm really coming to appreciate this one more and more the more I play around with it and the more I use it. Again, works great on so many different straps, and just such a timeless classic watch. All right, next we have my William Gregor 1791. And this one's still hanging around in my collection, kind of its cousin, the quartz version of this. That one is gone. I sold that one. No, I gave that one away. Yeah, my collection went through kind of a massacre this past month. Yeah, so when I was buying those two new watches, I needed to sell some of my watches to pay for them. And then I went back to California for my brother's wedding, and I had a whole bunch of watches, and so I actually got rid of a lot of them by giving a lot of my extra ones to my brothers and brothers-in-law. And I have 4 brothers and 2 brothers-in-law, so kind of I could come from a big family. But yeah, I thought that was a good way to kind of offload some of my extra watches, and it seemed like everybody enjoyed getting it. And I kind of felt better that way. It's like, a lot of these watches were ones that I really liked myself, but I didn't feel like I wanted to keep them around or like they were getting enough wrist time. So I'm glad that I've got friends and family that can enjoy them now, and hopefully they will. This one, this William Gregor 1791, this is one that I picked up on eBay. Kind of a quirky watch. It's one that was, it came through on Watch Gang, and I always watch the Watch Gang videos to see what they come out with. And some of them are pretty cool for, you know, $100. This was on their black tier. I managed to pick it up for, I think, about 60, and I think that's a great deal. It's got a Seiko NH35 movement inside. I really like the dial. It's got this kind of turquoise or dark sea green, blue sunburst dial. I like the texture on it. It's got these kind of concentric circles around the outside, but not the inside. I think that's a really neat touch. Applied markers. And one of my favorite things about it is just the crystal. It's a mineral crystal, but it's a domed mineral crystal. But I believe it would be a single domed crystal, so I don't know if you can see that. It gives a lot of distortion on the dial. So as I've said before, you know, one of the things that I appreciate about a good dress watch is it's got to be something that's really simple and elegant, but at the same time I want something that's kind of interesting about it too. And so for me, this one I think really has a real classy look. I like the dial. I like what they did with it. I like the crystal that kind of gives the different angles and distortions on it. Fun watch. I'm not sure how long I'll keep this one around. I probably won't be able to sell it. You know, it's not a brand that anybody recognizes, and I imagine people here in Japan probably wouldn't be too interested in it. So probably by virtue of that, I'll probably wind up keeping it or maybe eventually giving it away. But for now, yeah, I've got it. It's kind of my only blue watch in the collection, or bluish watch, and so yeah, I'll hold that one around for a while. All right, last but not least, we have my In Baja, and this one is kind of my beater watch. Kept it around. This is, you know, I took this one camping last summer and did the job great. Really like again, Swiss Army knife of watches. So many features on this thing, it's ridiculous. It does 2 time zones, stopwatch, countdown timer, alarms, flashlight, temperature gauge, compass. I think that's everything. But yeah, so many different functions in one little watch. It's really fun. I've got it switched over onto this NATO strap that I picked up a long time ago. And it comes on a kind of this Velcro nylon strap that, you know, wasn't the most comfortable. But here on this NATO strap, I think it works a lot better. It's actually, as you can see, it's not quite the right size. This is a 24 millimeter lug, so I need to get a 24 millimeter strap. This is a 22. But it's been, you know, serving well, and again, I think it's a lot better than the stock strap on it. But yeah, great little beater watch, 100-meter water resistance, so no problem swimming with it. Yeah, pretty tough, built to last, digital. Yeah, great camping, outdoor, hiking kind of watch. And yeah, good for just anytime I need something that I'm not afraid to get scratches on or rough up. Okay, so that's my watch collection right now. Let me know what you guys think. Go easy on me. Again, I still feel like I'm kind of new to all of this, but I'm getting happier with the way things are shaping out. So previously, my initial focus of the collection when I first started was I wanted to get a lot of really inexpensive watches. I was looking at watches that were like $50 or less, of different kinds, to kind of try and get a feel for the sort of watches that I liked, because I had no idea anything about anything, and I thought that was one good way to learn, was just to kind of get my hands on as many watches as I could, and that way when it got time to start looking at, you know, actually investing a little bit of money into buying a watch, I'd have a better idea of where to go. And that's still kind of reflected. You can still see there's a number of pieces in my collection that are around the $50 mark. The Timex Weekender, that Guanqiu, the In Baja, one of the oldest pieces in the collection. All of those I purchased for under $50, and they're still with me. But since then, I've started to really understand more about what I'm interested in. And so some of the pieces have been very strategic. The Bulova moon watch, that Lunar Pilot, for instance, a while ago, you know, I always wanted to have a good chronograph in the collection, and that was one that I kind of identified as probably, you know, the most interesting and the highest quality chronograph that I was going to be able to get in my price range. So yeah, again, looking forward to reviewing that. You'll notice that in the collection there's some big gaps. Again, as I mentioned when I was going through, I just got rid of a lot of watches, and I got rid of my dive watch. So I had an Aragon GMT Dive Master. So that's gone. I got rid of my field watch. I had that Nixon Ranger, And yeah, so there's some gaps now. I'm definitely, I think, I'm feeling the need for a dive watch, and that's one that, you know, I was kind of, as I discovered, I wasn't as interested in dive watches as everybody else seems to be. My interest was more drawn towards aviation pieces, and so you can see that, you know, I've got the Citizen Nighthawk as being one of the first major purchases that I made, and now the Bulova Lunar Pilot kind of falling in that vein as well. So I feel like I've kind of got that side of things rounded out. I still would really love to get an automatic, like really classic Flieger, something like that. So kind of keeping my eyes out for that as well. Being in Japan now, I don't have any Seiko or Casio in my collection, and I need to remedy that, I feel like. So this year I'll be looking for something from Seiko and Casio and trying to get some of those in. You know, makes sense since I'm living in Japan. I'm not that familiar with the Japanese market. Most of, you know, what I've been looking for has been on Amazon. So if you guys are specialists on JDM watches, and if there's anything I should be aware of, definitely hit me with a comment down below. But yeah, hopefully this has been informative and somewhat interesting to you guys. Again, thank you so much for sticking with me, and we hope to put out some new reviews and releases in the future. And yeah, please like, subscribe as usual, and we'll see you next time.